I thought you was gonna say it.
I see it. Alright. I'm your host, Big Trudy, and today we got. God damn. I'm your host, Big Trudy, and today we got coming to the podcast Miss Alexis Cole, professional alto saxophone player, Memphis, Tennessee.
That's weird.
Appreciate you coming through first of all.
No problem.
Yeah, but how you doing?
I'm good.
You said it's weird podcast and it's kind of weird to you. But just the clapping in the background.
The clapping in the background.
Alright, first of all, I got a couple questions that I normally ask people from Memphis when they come through. And it's the good, bad, the ugly about our city. So what would you say the good, bad, the ugly is about Memphis?
So the good, I'm gonna focus on the good because I'm a positive person.
Okay.
I love the culture. Like, we're not even gonna talk about just the music, but just the food and the energy. Everywhere I go, like, I just got the opportunity to go overseas and perform, and everywhere I go, people know about Memphis. They know about the music and they know about the food. So there's definitely a highlight that we just need to showcase even more. As far as the negative, and I don't even really think it's a negative for real, but it's more or less like just getting the city under control when it comes to like the crime, because people always want to highlight, the first 48 and the fact that we're so good and so hood, and that's cool, that's a part of our culture, but I think we need to focus more like just on the things that make it so beautiful, just with the music that we pushing out and just everything that comes along with just Memphis as a whole. So like I said, I like to focus on the positive, not too much on the negative.
Gotcha. You know what? The last couple people that I interviewed, maybe 3, that said similar shit though. Like, they ain't really focusing on, like, they was like the culture so good that they kind of embracing it and not the negative side of things. So I can understand it.
Yeah.
All right, let me ask you this then. Were you brought up in a single parent household or both parents?
So my parents actually got divorced when I was like 12 or 13 years old. So part of my life, like, I always had my dad in the house, and then part of my life, my mom was a single parent. But not to say that my dad wasn't around, because my parents are like troopers when it comes to raising kids. I always, any interview, anytime I'm talking about them, like, they were always 10 toes down for me, my brother, and my sister. So the fact that I had such strong, good, well-rounded parents, I think that kind of made me the woman who I am today. So now I'm more focused on, like, even though I don't have my own kids, I try to focus more on just like giving back to young girls or young boys that are pushing to do something. So yeah, I had some good parents growing up.
That's what's up. Who would you say more of your personality come from, your mom or your dad?
I don't know. Now that I'm getting older, I can see more of my mom in me. My mom was a go-getter, just very outspoken, very ambitious. I think I get that part from my mom. As far as like the modeling and the pageantry, I think I get that more from my dad, because my dad loved modeling when he was younger, and not only that, he was very disciplined, and I think I get that from him too. My dad was a Marine, so I think that's where I get my discipline from.
It's crazy you said your father was a model. I remember, you old enough to remember, in class they used to make us we stand up and ask us what we wanted to be.
Yes.
And I used to say I used to want to be a model. But it's like when I went to college, it kind of, like, I was straight up.
Honestly, like, when it came to modeling, that kind of helped me overcome low self-esteem. So growing up, I was 5'9" in the 5th grade, and I did not have any confidence at all. I thought I was so awkward and so weird looking. And my mom was like, okay, she was really good at putting me and my brother and sister into things that can kind of help us grow with our personality. So she put me into modeling, and the rest is history. Like, that built my confidence. I got the opportunity to model for 17 magazine when I was very young. Then I started playing my saxophone, and my confidence just took off after that. So
that's kind of a question I was gonna ask you, right? Like, did the pageants kind of not? Do you think pageants like more kids and need to be in pageants growing up because it works on their self-esteem?
I definitely think more kids should do pageants. Reason being is because it shows you so much about life. It shows you how to present yourself in a room full of strangers. It teaches you how to speak in a room where you don't know anyone, and it just helps you present your best self at all times. And the fact that I was able to go so far in pageantry, I definitely think that we need to have that more in the inner city, because that's really kind of how, you know, people are so far ahead of our kids sometimes. It's because we just don't have them doing the things that they need to do to set them up for success. So, you know, next year or probably year after next, I'm probably going to start focusing on doing pageants like in the inner city with like girls, as far as like how to walk, how to stand, how to smile, how to speak, those type of things. So,
is that kind of, is pageants sort of on the lines of like, what do you say, like charm school? Or is it not charm school, but you know, the schools that kind of teach little girls etiquettes? Like, what is it? What kind of schools are
so that's more like etiquette, but with pageantry it's more or less kind of like, well, it's not modeling either, it's more or less like just presenting your best self, you know. So how, like I said, how you walk, how you stand, how I say my name on stage versus if I'm in an interview, and it teach you life, like I said, it teach you life lessons, especially when you're trying to get on that job and trying to make it through that next round of interviews. That's what pageantry teaches you, and it just kind of sets you up for the future. So.
And how did you get into modeling? You said your father?
It was actually my mom. So growing up, like I said, I was very young and very tall. I was 5'9" in the 5th grade. So when I was that tall, I was like, God, I just felt so weird looking.
What was your tall nickname they had for you?
They didn't even have a nickname for me. Really? It was just like on picture day, I would always have to get in the back of the class because I was so tall, in the back of the room because I was so tall, and I used to hate it. And then my mom was like, I think I should put Alexis into modeling. And she put me in there, and the next thing I knew, I was just going to these castings, and I was doing stuff every weekend. So that's what kind of pushed me into, you know, just with the pageantry. And the pageantry came in when I wanted to get more money to go to college. So that's when the pageantry came in.
Okay, I got you. All right. Speaking of Memphis, just taking it back a little bit. What part of Memphis are you from?
So my family, my lineage is Orange Mound all day long, all day. I went to high school at Cordova High School, though. I did go to Cordova, and then at night I went to Stax Music Academy for music. So I had a lot of culture going on a day-to-day. I was in Cordova during the day, and at night I was in South Memphis. So had a lot of culture going on. And then my mom was a youth advisor at Memorial Baptist Church. It's in Orange Mound on Carnes Avenue. Shout out to my church. But yeah, I spent a lot of time in Orange Mound because my mom was a youth advisor at the church, and then my whole family still lives in Orange Mound, and born and raised Melrose, Golden Wildcats all day. So I spent a lot of time out there.
So give the viewers those dynamics. Lineage in the Mound, went to school in Cordova in the daytime, but then at nighttime you in South Memphis at Stax. So what is those? What was it like being in the Mound? What was it like going to school at Stax? And then, like, what's the difference? Like the different dynamics between Cordova and Stax,
yes.
basically.
So I think my mom, and I always go back to my mom, she was very big on making sure that we could adapt in any type of environment, whether we were around a whole lot of white people or whether we were around a lot of black people. She just wanted us to be able to navigate through this world. I think a lot of times when it comes to being successful, people just know how to operate in one realm, but the fact that I had so much culture going on during the day, I feel like they kind of set me up just to be able to network with everybody. So long story short, during the day, I went to school at Cordova. It was a lot of diversity going on there. But having said that, it just showed me how to communicate with people who I probably wouldn't communicate with on a day-to-day. And then I would go to Stax at Orange, Stax in South Memphis. And when I was in Stax, it was more or less like music, and all the kids that were around me were musically inclined. This is when you actually had to audition to go to Stax. So all of us knew we were good. All of us knew we were cold. And we just knew we were probably going to be the next big thing. So that was the culture that was going on in South Memphis when I was there at night. And then when I would go to Orange Mound, it was just family family, church, values, knowing where you came from, knowing that, you know, yeah, people say Orange Mound the hood, but I was around doctors and teachers and educators and people with PhDs when I was in Orange Mound. I wasn't, you know, around, you know, the riffraff. So the fact that people have their own views of Black African American neighborhoods, the lineage that I came through, they were all educated. They wanted you to know you came from Orange Mound. They wanted you to know that it was a village raising you, and that's what kind of helped me get through.
Sound like it was a good upbringing, like good times back then.
Yes.
You know, a lot of fun, a lot of structure, but you know, hard work. So, who put the saxophone in your hand?
So it's so crazy. So a lot of people don't know this, but I can actually play the piano too.
Really?
Yes, I can play the piano too, but I'm not as good as I used to be.
Okay.
But I can play. But having said that, I started playing the piano, and then when I got into 6th grade, I was like, man, I want to get into the band. And so I was like, okay, let me get in the band. I was like, but I want to play the saxophone. So long story short, I had a band director. He wasn't a fan of females playing instruments like that, like the saxophone. And so I was like, Mom, I really want to play. I really think he should put me on the saxophone. And she went up to the school, because I got a real Black mama straight from Orange Mound, just went up there and shut it down. She was like, listen, put my daughter on the saxophone. If it works out, cool, but if not, she can do something else.
At least let her try.
Yeah, let her try, give her the opportunity, and the rest is history. Like I was going everywhere with that horn. Like my mom, like it all started at the church. So she would let me go to different churches and play. Like if they had youth nights and stuff like that, I would always go to the churches and play. And then I started getting better and better, and I just kept at it.
When did you realize, when did it become a passion first? When did it become a passion?
Well, music has always been a passion for me. My dad, he can sing. My brother, Justin Cole, he's a great guitarist. Oh my God. Okay. Very like Jimi Hendrix good. He's really good. So I just came from a musically inclined family anyway. And so the fact that, you know, I was able to play the saxophone and I was getting better and better, I was like, okay, I'm going to stick with this. So when did you take it serious? I started taking it serious during COVID. And
That's a couple years ago?
Yeah, it was everything that I had going on. Yeah.
You started this in the 6th grade?
Mm-hmm.
And you just started taking it serious a few years ago?
Yeah, because we were in COVID and we weren't doing anything. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to just start, because I was always playing out and about, but I'm a corporate woman. Like I was working corporate, like a corporate professional. I went to school, I got my degree, and I was in the corporate world. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to pick my saxophone up sometimes, you know what I mean? But I wasn't really taking it serious until COVID. So long story short, I started posting videos because we weren't doing anything. Nobody was going out or anything like that. So I was like, okay, let me just start posting these videos. And I was like, I started posting them. People started liking them. They started sharing them, because again, the world was shut down. Nobody was doing anything. And next thing I know, couples started reaching out to me like, hey, Alexis, can you come and play for me and my husband? It's our anniversary. It's our birthday, whatever the case. And I just started going to their houses and performing for them. And then it just kind of pushed me to be more of an entertainer than anything. So I just kind of kept at it. I started learning songs. I invested in my own equipment. And next thing I know, I just started getting booked and busy. So that's what happened.
So educate me on this. Are you considered a professional saxophone player?
I would like to say I am. I would like to say I am. You know, especially like not just with the music piece of it, but just the performance piece. Like I change clothes. Like a lot of people who have seen me perform, they know like Alexis gonna change garments. Yeah. I'm a change garments at least 2 or 3 times. It was so crazy to me because I always envisioned me having a band. Like, and I do have a band with me sometimes. It depends on the gig. But a lot of times people just book me by myself. And it was crazy because during COVID, I thought I was going to have a band. Like, let me play at a particular place. I'm not even going to tell you what it was. But I was like, let me just play. He was like, no. the guy that was over the thing, he was like, no, you're gonna have your instrumentals and we gonna have your equipment set up, and that's what you're gonna do. And he gave me the weakest night of the week. He gave me a Thursday night. The weakest night. He gave me a Thursday night. People could be in there, they could not be in there. And so I was like, oh my God. I was like, okay, you know what? Since you don't want to give me your van, I was like, fine. I was like, I'm gonna get my own equipment and I'm gonna start bringing myself into this. Like, what does this look like for Alexis? Right. So I just started making it my own, and it's just kind of been working for me. So
what was that big breakthrough on COVID that was like, you know what, this could work?
So I performed one song on there, and I was like, "Oh, this went viral," and it went viral. It was "Anytime, Any Place" by Janet Jackson. I played that song, and it went viral. It was just going everywhere, and I was like, "Oh my God, oh my God!" And I started getting scared because remember, I'm still a corporate professional, right. So I was like, "Oh my God, oh my God!" And so it started going viral, and so people started reaching out just to do private stuff. And then I was like, "Okay," and I said, "Okay, if I promote me being somewhere, it needs to look a certain type of way." So when I went to school, I got my degree in business marketing. So I know promotion, I know editorials, all that stuff is so important for your brand. And I started kind of putting myself out there in a way like, okay, Alexis, this is what it's supposed to look like. I'm going to make it look like that. So I brought the pageantry side into the music side. So I started making sure the clothes were glamorous, making sure the photo shoots were glamorous. Shout out to Made by Glide. He does all my photos. But just making sure the promotion of it was really good. And next thing I know, I got that call from the Grizzlies.
That's where I was going with this. My national anthem in the form, Head Crowd. What was that experience like?
Oh God, electrifying. I was so nervous, and it was crazy because now my mom has Alzheimer's. So now she wasn't able to be with me. So that crushed me. But needless to say, I knew I had to take care of the business. I was like, okay, make sure this hair is on point, make sure these notes are on point, make sure your clothes are on point. And I just tried to make sure I presented my best self as if this was a pageant. Like, you got to get out there and you got to present your best self. And that's what I did. I got with my coach, Lenny McMillan. Shout out to Lenny McMillan. He's been working with me for a long time. I came up with the rendition of my own. And then he just kind of said, well, put this in there. Well, take this out, like type of thing. But I still made it my own, though. And needless to say, that's what happened.
That's what I was going. This is another question I was just thinking about since you said that, because you don't hear about a lot of black, especially female alto saxophone players. So who was your inspiration, or how did you scope the way you going about things, like mixing the glamour with the business and the set? Who was your model?
I'm gonna be honest, growing up, Beyonce. So the fact that she got that all girl, see, I was always a big Beyonce fan, but when she got that all girl band together and I had just started playing my saxophone, I'm like, this is what I need to be doing. If I'm gonna do it, this is what it needs to look like. Orderly, clothes, makeup, just the whole performance, it needs to be put on every time. And I was like, man, when she put that all girl band together, it was all she wrote for me. I was like, if I'm gonna do it, this what it's gonna look like. So that was my kind of model.
Got you. So you said playing the national anthem was kind of, you said, electrifying, overwhelming a little bit. Yeah. What was the reception though once you was done with it? What was the reception you got from friends, family, and strangers? Hey,
honestly, like people from all different walks of life. Like it wasn't just friends and family. It was people just regular citizens in Memphis just saying like, oh my God. I couldn't really go anywhere after that. Like they was like, you played the national anthem? I was like, yeah. They was like, you played, or they'll ask, they'll be like, do you play the saxophone? I get that a lot. And I was like, yeah. And they were like, oh my God, you killed that. So the fact that I was able to connect with not only just my family and friends, but just people from all over Memphis, and nationally, that was cool too. And I got an opportunity. So you didn't know this, but I am a Delta, proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
Why you think I know?
Huh?
I saw it. I was gonna get into that.
Okay. But I got to play for our national conference in Indianapolis, and oh my God, playing for those sorors. crazy. That was a moment to remember too, for sure.
Okay, since you mentioned that, how was that support? The support from your sisters?
Man, and the thing about when it comes to like when you're a part of a sisterhood like that, it's nothing like Delta Sigma Theta. But the fact that they were just going crazy, they was like Alexis, because they always knew that I could play, but playing on that level. Playing on that level, like that was extreme, and a lot of people had seen me grow up from like when I was in college to where I am right now. Like you could tell they were overwhelmed. It was like they were seeing like their baby. Like that's how they treated me.
So how was homecoming?
Homecoming, always an experience. I'm the 84th Miss University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, so I am an HBCU queen. Okay. And the fact that I get thank you. But the fact that I get to go back every year, it just feels like, you're a queen all over again. It's nothing like that HBCU experience. I don't care where you go to school. It's nothing like an HBCU experience. I'm a big HBCU advocate. I think all kids should get that experience at least once in their lifetime. Yeah.
Okay. I got a question I wanted to ask you. It says, I said, when it comes to Memphis, you already said something about this, like the culture, politics, food, like what's happening spots, charity, music, like how does that, you take the Memphis culture, like on the road with you, and how is it received to people though? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Well, honestly and truly, when I say Memphis, they were like, oh, she could play. Either she can play or she gonna come with something different. So the fact that I have that on my name, I'm very honored and very thankful. But one of the other things too, I think that they know that Memphis is so creative within itself. No matter if you're a musician, no matter if you're just a painter, if you're a fashion designer, Memphis, you're gonna always feel that Memphis energy, and this is not like that anywhere else. And I've been all over. You're not gonna catch that Memphis energy anywhere. So the fact that I'm able to be in a position to where I can say I'm from Memphis, that's the first thing I say before I even play a note. Right. Before I even play a note, that's the first thing I'm saying. I'm like, I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. I pledged Delta Sigma Theta, and I went to Stax Music Academy. And the fact that people know those things, it just kind of connects with the audience even more. So yeah.
Would you say you were what is the proper term? Lazy on? What is it like? Like one of the first people to usher it in. Like how many women do what you do in Memphis? It's
a lot of women. You have the sax lady, Miss Crystal. She's been doing it longer than I've been doing it. Yes. You have Miss Aisha. You have her. So it's not just me.
Say the word for me. I don't want to sound crazy. Help me say it. Get it right for me.
A liaison.
Yeah. I struggle with that.
That's the degree. That's the education. But liaison. So I'm not the only one. But having said that, everybody has something new and different and unique to bring to the table. It's a lot of instrumentalists in Memphis that I feel like need to have more clout when it comes to just being a co-player. With me, I just focus more on like the promotion. It's like the way you put yourself out there. That's what connects you with your audience. And then when you get there, you just let your talent speak for itself. So,
got you. So what's the energy of like live music now in the city of Memphis?
I think the energy is good. It's a lot of dope players, and I love the fact that we have so many players that are actually playing behind real entertainers. Like you have people here playing for Christina Aguilera. You have people playing for all these different entertainers. So the fact that we've always been able to get those opportunities, that's phenomenal. And I would like to play behind somebody, but I'm getting into the realm where I just kind of want to do my own thing. I just want to be Alexis.
Yeah, I think you should. I feel like the way it's set up now, where you can kind of promote yourself and then have a social media platform, you can really build your own whatever you're trying to do with it. You know what I'm saying? And live off streaming and just other things that comes with it. Who are some of the people you look at now, as far as they play the saxophone? Who are some of the people?
Definitely Tia Fuller. She played saxophone for Beyonce for years. I look at this young lady by the name. Her name is Coffee. I think that's her recent saxophonist. I look at her a lot as well. And I also listen to a lot of guys too. So a lot of times when people hear me play, they think about David Sanborn. I'm a big David Sanborn head. I love his music. I love the way he just makes his notes, the whole 9 yards, his albums. I love David Sanborn. Who else do I listen?
Heard of a guy named Johnny Hodges?
I heard of Johnny. And then another person I like to listen to, I like the classics. I like Charlie Parker. My saxophone teacher, Lanny McMillan, he put me on Charlie Parker and Cannonball Adderley. Very, very... Oh, you already about to talk about Charlie. Okay. You know a little bit. But yeah, Charlie Parker, Cannonball Adderley, he put me on them real early when I first started off. And it was cool playing those jazz charts. I was in jazz band in college and in high school. And I was playing jazz charts too at Stax, a couple of charts that we were playing. But long story short, I just kind of want to play what I want to play now.
You want to freestyle?
Yeah, because I played all that stuff growing up, and it's cool. I can still play it, right. But I just kind of want to play the songs I want to play now.
That makes perfect sense, though. Question, what would you say some of the challenges are being black and being a saxophone player? Especially trying to take it to the next level.
I'm gonna say this. It's more or less like you always have to prove yourself. Gotcha. You can't just walk in a room and be like, oh, that's Alexis Cole. Like, You got to come in, you got to know what you're doing, and you got to really prove yourself, because a lot of people don't want to see you win. You know, with me, you know, I get a lot of support, and I be so grateful and so thankful for that. But a lot of people don't want to see you win. You have to be okay with that, and that's why when you walk into a room, you got to put on your best self. I said it at the beginning, presenting your best self at every performance, because you don't know who in that room that could change your life. You don't know who in that room that you're ministering to, because through my music, I feel like it's almost a ministry at this point, because of my story, you know, growing up with low self-esteem. So I think that's like the biggest thing, like just understanding, like you always got to present your best self. And with me being a black woman and looking a certain type of way, I always have to present that. You know, because if I don't, then that's when they'll start saying, oh, well, she and being negative. You know, that's why I like, even with my performances, I get to my performances almost 2 hours early, just to make sure that I'm on point when it's time to perform or hit the stage. I'm on point. So I just take it really seriously when it comes to just putting your best self out there.
Got you. So in saying that, like, you have the professional side, you have the what we say, like, basically how do you think people perceive you? Because when you play the saxophone and you know, instruments like that, I would say that's more so classical style, so it's like people look at it like you're supposed to be uppity in a sense. I would think that's just me.
I don't get
like
that.
You're supposed to have a
I don't get that. I don't get that.
Like the violin or something. You're supposed to be, so it's not.
No.
Okay.
No.
Because you're really down to earth.
No. It's more or less like, one thing about it, you have to understand that you're a performer. You're a performer. I'm a performer. I'm connected with people from all different walks of life. So me coming into the room being stuck up and uppity, that's not what's gonna help me perform for these people. You know, them hearing my story, me being able to connect with them, that's what kind of helps me with my performance. You know, so the fact that I'm coming in the room stuck up and uppity and all that, it's gonna make the performance boring, and you're not gonna play the best that you can play because you think that you better. Like, no, absolutely not. So I think that when it comes to like a saxophone, it's such a sensual instrument. You know what I mean? It's very sensual. It's very free. It's the best instrument in my opinion. But in retrospect, like, it just helps me just to connect with my audience even more. The fact that it's a saxophone and I'm playing the way that I'm playing. So yep.
Got you. What was the trip to? How did the trip to overseas come about? Was it Spain or Italy? What's Spain?
Well, we flew to Spain and then we got on a boat. It was actually through FedEx. Shout out to Courtney Clark. He actually put the band together, and I was just so happy to be in that number. Thank you, Jesus. And I got the call, and it was such a big learning experience for me. I had never played overseas before, so the fact that I was able to have that opportunity, and you had people in Memphis, you know what I mean, bridging the gap and reaching back and getting players from the city, because he could have reached back and got anybody, you know. So the fact that I was able to get that opportunity, it was amazing. It was amazing, and I learned so much out there, so much.
That's what's up. Shout out to Courtney once again. Do you want to use your platform to inspire the younger women?
Absolutely. I think, especially in this generation, I think everybody is wanting to be one aesthetic, right? Where it's so many different aesthetics that you can have. You don't have to just be the girl that can do nails real good or do hair real good, you know, or you don't have to be the girl like, I want to be a musician, I want to be a rapper. We have a lot of female rappers. Why don't you pick up an instrument? Why don't you try to be a drummer? Why don't you try to play the piano? You know, so it's so many different lanes and different avenues that I really specifically want black women to kind of tap more into. You know, everybody don't have to be a singer and everybody don't have to be a rapper. We need engineers to put and produce the record. We need writers who can write poetry. If you can write poetry, you can write a song. You know, so I think that's what I really kind of want more women to tap into. So, you know, I do that through my music. So again, you know, it's more like a ministry for me.
Gotcha. And what you got coming up next, and where can they find you? Where can they reach you at?
What do I have coming up next? So right now I'm about to take a break. I'm going to see my mom, my whole family. They live in Dubai. They live in Abu Dhabi. My sister works corporate over there. So does her husband. They're doing really good. So I'm going to take a break and go over there and see my mom. And then after next year, I'm going to probably start working on my own stuff, my own music. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's what's up. So and let's say the next year or so, what do you see yourself far as with your alto sax, with your brand, and what do you see yourself with?
Next year, hopefully I'm able to, you know, get my songs on the radio nationally. That's the goal. Once I put it out there.
Oh, what type of music are you? You gonna be playing the sax and singing?
I got a lot of stuff going on. I got a lot of stuff going on. You know, during COVID, I was recording a lot of stuff. But I just knew that it wasn't the time for me. I really just kind of wanted to get my foot in and understand like who I am, not only as a person, but as an artist, like a female saxophonist. So yeah, got that going on. But in the next year, hopefully, you know, my song's on the radio and I can play and tour just as Alexis, like, the artist. So that's my goal.
Well, I wish you nothing but success. Appreciate you coming through the platform. Definitely enjoyed the interview. Anything you want to say before you get out of here? Let them know where to reach you at, how they book you, anything of that nature.
So my name is Alexis Cole. I am a female saxophonist. If you would like to follow me, I am on Instagram, alexis.cole1234, Alexis Cole1234. And I'm on Facebook, Alexis Cole. And shout out to my mom, shout out to my dad, shout out to my brothers, my sister.